Patrick, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm here in the state of Florida, working hard, enjoying the, I don't know, humidity. They can't figure out if it's winter, if it's summer, if it's spring, but I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. I don't think there could ever be a bad day in Florida. You know what I mean? I know that if I was living down there, it would be so hard for me to focus, with nice weather, 365. I don't know. In the winter, I'd be still outside and just loving it. I need my seasons just for the, you know,
Christmas morning is a time to swim. Just
there you
saying.
go.
Just saying.
Well, I want to take a quick moment to introduce you to our future audience and introduce them to you, actually. I'm so excited to have the chance to talk with country singer and songwriter Patrick Gibson. Patrick has a single out right now called The American Prayer. It's being added to the playlist all across the country, so it's a really exciting time for him. And I just thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
I appreciate the willingness, man, to have me. Just a little old boy like me, and you said, come on, let's talk. Well, I feel good now.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So I understand that music's been a part of your life since like going back to third grade. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I remember doing something in third grade, but it wasn't anything that I could say meant anything musically at the time, but it was a talent show. But let's hear about you. What happened in third grade that just started the whole process?
So I think that was the kicker right there. We ain't got to tell everybody, but I started out, I sung in a lot of choirs. I was a choir singer. I sung soprano too. Boy, I wish I could hit those notes now, but
yeah.
I was a wee little dude. My dad had a Southern rock band that he played around town. My whole family's just immersed in music. And I had the opportunity to sit in with him. I don't know if it's because he wanted to sell more records, get more tips or not, but you bring the cute little third grader up on stage and have him sing Randy Travis, Heroes and Friends, or Achy Breaky Heart, because that's the era that it was, But I think that's where it really started to stand out. And I got to start performing a little bit with my dad and his group. And of course, in these choirs that I was with. And I decided if I was going to do music, I had to push and I had to take whatever we could get. So I think that sparked it, man. Third grade, here we go.
That's exciting. And I was going to ask you about that, like the artist, like what kind of songs were you singing up there, or who were the artists? So you mentioned Randy Travis, you mentioned Billy Ray Cyrus. Who else? Who else were these besides your own family, brothers and father? With their music. Who else was influencing you at that time musically that you were hearing on the radio, and what was it like at that point musically for you?
I love the style of Travis Tritt. He is so like country rock, and just maybe because he reminds me so much of my dad. I don't know, but man, that guy's got some energy, and his songs just pump. But they also tell a great story, and they drive whatever emotions you're having. Garth Brooks, man, I used to wear the Brooks and Dunn shirt. The Red Lightning shirt that they used to sell in their brand. And that was like one of my favorite shirts. And I might have got laughed at for wearing it to school, but buddy, that was cool. Was cool.
One of the things that really impressed me about you is, in looking at your Facebook, your social media posts and everything, is that you are always highlighting all of the great country artists in the business. You always have something great to say about somebody, whether you have interacted with them personally or not. And some of them I know you have. I saw a great George Jones picture you took when you were younger. So great experiences like that you might have had along the way, but also even just the people that you respect. You're always so humble in your assessment of them. Like, hey, what are you guys thinking about this guy? He's like the spokesperson of country, and I just love those posts, and such a great way to interact with your fans and to show this mutual appreciation for each other in the business.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think the music industry, we've got to look at it like a family. Some on the outside might say it's competition. I get it when you're trying to do numbers and you're trying to cut records and sell records, and they feel like they got to compete with each other sometimes. I got to have a better song than this guy. But when it all comes down, and I think this pandemic, not to bring up the pandemic because my goodness,
so good.
Just the fact that I think it humbled a lot of people. Hopefully it helped people to understand that, when we have nothing, when we're not on the road, we find out who our friends are. Hence Tracy Lawrence's song. You find out who your friends are, and you start to understand who really is your family, who is your music family.
Yeah,
And every artist out there needs to understand that without one, you can't have the other. And really, you got to come together, because I promise you, we're all going to need each other somewhere down the road if we haven't already.
right.
Even if it's just somebody that influences you, as myself. Let me mention Vince Gill too, a big influence man, because his vocal is just like, ah! He's an amazing artist. But you need the influence to push and to pursue and to find yourself, not to sound like somebody, but music is family. Music is family.
Absolutely. And it's an
And
interesting business too, because of the fact that, one label works with another to put together a show. That's very rare that you'd have, of the big major labels in the country, that two different labels would have an opening act and a main act. It's like you don't have two competing department store chains put an ad out together. They're competing. So there's like you said, there is a slight competition, but
Right.
it's a friendly kind of thing. And you could put two labels, bands and artists together, and no one blinks an eye at that. It's kind of a cool industry.
It's almost genius, right? Everybody's
Right.
getting a little style of this and style of that. Why would we bore our fans with the same old us?
Right, right.
Let's show, hey, if I have an opportunity to, and I've done that at a local level in my times of coming up, anytime I had an opportunity to perform a major venue, I would try to invite whoever that local person was that's coming up to come perform with us, because music is made to be heard, man. And if we can help somebody else share their music, I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. And I think that, I know you're based in Florida right now. You spent several years doing the music scene down there, House of Blues, a lot of shows there, correct?
Yeah.
And lots of things in Florida. Up in Nashville, I'm sure you've spent some time back and forth in Nashville here and there. And it's a community, right? They all know each other. Everybody works together, songwriters and musicians, and it's a family friendly kind of a community. Even though it's a big city, it's a very kind of tied in city. They all know each other.
That is right. Especially on the business end, I think you need to really build relationships. You can have great music, but if you ain't got a good relationship, I think you're only going to last so long, because music is not something you just plan to do for 2 or 3 years. It's something that you say, I'm going to put this effort in, and we've got a message and a platform. So praise God that we're going to have a few years to use it. But when you can tie in these relationships with all these different entities, labels, promoters, I think you're better off, because everybody has different avenues they can approach. And you just want to keep everybody close, because you never know when you're going to need somebody. And I want to give a quick shout out to our team. Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Yes. Larry Paregas with 9 North Records, they have been amazing, him and his team. They are working so hard on radio for us. And those guys, they know this person. We got affiliated with our publicists through this guy. It's who does this person know? Who does that person know? But who can you build that relationship with and say, hey guys, let's start our own family? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you know what? The thing that has to help is that you have this dynamic personality, and people who are nice people in the business, people want to work twice as hard for you because they know you're genuine, and that's going to help you a long way in your career. Because just a little bit of time that we get to spend today, I could just tell you're a genuine guy. And just reading your posts and seeing how you interact with the world, I could tell you're a genuine guy, and that's going to help you go a long way in the business, because people remember the people who are nice, genuine people, and they're going to want to help you. So yes, absolutely.
I appreciate that. I've learned you got to be real. A lot of people want to say fake it till you make it. And I used to say that too, but you know what my team tells me, Patrick, just be you. Just be you. I want them to tell me all the answers, do this, do that. And they're like, dude, just be you. I said, okay, all right. So
Right.
Great statement there.
How old were you when you started to actually put a pen to paper to start to write songs? I know you were singing young, 3rd grade, but how old were you when you started to say, okay, I want to try this a little bit?
So I was 13. Writing poetry and stuff, I started 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, kids writing stuff. And but I would say I was about 13 years old. I was living with my grandparents, and my grandfather was going through some stuff, just different kind of lifestyle.
Sure.
And it's like I had this thing, and I still do, like I can feel people's loneliness, or I just hone in. And so I just sat down one evening when I was 13, and I knew 3 chords, right? I knew 3 chords in the truth. And I just started writing one song. And then once I realized I could put poems to music, I'm like, oh, buddy, now we're ready to go. It was so much fun. And so at 13, I got to do that. I wrote my first song, haven't cut it or anything. And then I just went from there, man, you know, from the life experiences that I've had growing up. And then as far as my times through high school and the days after that, and now in my family days, I'm so glad that I took to pen and paper at a young age, because I felt I got to grow, and life will give us stuff to write about. We don't have to seek it too much. We just have to understand life and what we're currently going through. It'll write the song for us. We just got to put it to the paper.
That's what I was going to ask you about. I was going to say, you know, as you walk through day-to-day life, it's there. You're right. You're in line at the gas station or something, and something just clicks where you're thinking, boy, this is a line for. It may not be the whole song right there, but you might have a line. I just imagine a lot of singers and songwriters walking around with their phones, singing things into them, or seeing something, being on a plane. And I hear that story a lot from people. You know, just always looking for what's out there that you could pull into a song, even one line at a time.
That is totally the truth. You never know if you're going to see something on a billboard. Not that we would take somebody's line that's copywritten.
No, I know what you mean, though. Just to inspire.
It's totally going to spark. You could be sitting in a meeting with somebody and they shoot something at you. You could be at the church house and you could hear somebody complain, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Just really, I mean, the songs are just being written, and we just got to put it in together, you know, and try to put some music to it, because you can have good lyrics. But you want to take those good lyrics and you want to put good music behind it, because it's the interesting world we live in. Not everybody listens to the lyrics. If the music itself is not good, they're probably going to turn away, right?
Yeah. So when you do that, do you always have your lyrics first and then put the melody to it, or do you sometimes take that melody first and say, I've got some words over here and some words over there, maybe these two sets of lyrics turn into one song, or how does that work for you?
So for me, you know, I don't know how it works with everybody else, but for me, I will get something in my head, whether it be a life scenario that's happening around me, or just something I've been wanting to write about. I will have a direction of where I want to go, what I want the song to say, and then I work through it to get it to say what I want it to say. And then I'll put music, and I try to tie the feeling of the music. So you got to pick the right chords and such to match the story we're trying to tell and the message we're trying to give. So for me, I usually start with lyrics. I have some great co-writers that I work with to write music itself. And we'll partner up, and they'll do some really cool tracks, and they'll say, hey man, put some lyrics to these. And I'm like, buddy, come on, let's rock and roll. Here we go. But yeah, for me, I would say it's lyrics first. Sometimes now I'll get a little tune in my head, and then I'll put the lyrics to it. I wrote a song just before my wife and I got married. It was in a McDonald's parking lot, actually. It's called Daddy's Little Girl. I don't know if you've had a chance.
I have heard that one. Yeah, I've seen that on your videos. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And man, that is a true story of my wife. But I started with the tune in my head, da 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 da, and then I was like, okay, where am I going to go with this? And then I put the lyrics to that, and just let the story tell itself.
That's great. It's just, I think it's a fun process. It's always interesting to hear how different songwriters approach it differently. Everyone's got their own way of doing it, you know, and some things are similar because there's only so many ways to come at it, either lyrics or melody. But it's interesting how they take bits and pieces, and it's always interesting to hear that story. So thank you for sharing that with me, and that sounds exciting. I think it'd be exciting to build a song, you know, from scratch. You know,
it is.
So let's talk about your current single, "The American Prayer." You know, for people who don't know about this song, and I don't know if there's that many people out there who don't know about it right now. I think it's really getting out; it's in people's ears. So you know, for those couple people that may not have heard it yet, you know, let's talk about it a little bit. Tell me a little bit about the song.
Yeah. One, I totally want to say thank you to the country music listeners that have taken on to this. And, you know, a lot of them, not even country music listeners, they've heard the song via social media platforms and such. I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to country radio for taking a chance on somebody who doesn't really have a name in the industry and play that music. The American Prayer, man, it's very deep. It's very deep, but yet it's exciting. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Sure.
We went to pen and paper with this to kind of put out a message that, hey, we've got to support the men and women that protect us. We've got to give them some credit. Yep. There are some crazy times that we are going through. Not saying any one side right or wrong, but all I know is we've got to pray for these men and women that put their lives on the line daily, that are being held to the flame currently, but not only them, for their families. So I took the pen and paper and I tried to go inside the families of our Leos, of our military men and women, our first responders. And I tried to bring out the life of what goes on in their homes. And this is after speaking with, a lot of close friends that we have, whether it be police wives, whether it be military officers, whether it be police officers. In conversation with them, I'm like, oh, buddy, this is deeper than we see here. So we wrote the song, The American Prayer, and even coming up with the title, when we got to the chorus, Lord, please forgive me for the sins I may commit. Help my family understand I'm giving all that I can give. Bless the lives, the wives, the kids, the place that we call home. God bless the U.S., one nation under God. How many out there feel that we need to get back to being one nation, but not just one nation under God? So I wrote the lyrics of that, took to the producer in the studio, and we put some good music again, because we knew we had the music, had to pair up with the message to get into people's ears. And after the finished product, we were like, whoa, watch out, baby, here we come. So praise God that he gave us a good song to put out that has a great message that I feel relates to a lot of people in these times.
Oh yeah, and, I mean, it absolutely has the power to bring people together and break through some of the anger, the restlessness that people feel, and to bring us together, like you said, one nation under God. Absolutely. It's so powerful. I wonder, at the time that you started, did you realize when you started writing this, did you realize that this would be such an anthem that, I mean, you knew what you wanted to write about, but the way it came out, it's just, I have to think that the pen just started hitting the paper and just, it wrote itself, and with divine inspiration, I would say, probably.
Yes, it did. It's every day that we wake up, there's something else in the news, something else in the media that I can say, oh my gosh, I wish you could just hear this song. I wish you could just hear this song, whether it be to a family member going through what it may be, to a politician that needs to hear it. Every day there's something in the news that I just say to myself, gosh, they just need to hear the song and it might inspire them a little bit. So did I fully understand the capacity of this song and the importance of it when I wrote it? Probably not. But just the way people can relate to it, and the messages we get from police wives, from military families, from sergeants, from chiefs of police, and just the common family members of police officers, that told me that, hey, we did something good here. And just the way they appreciate it, the way that we can get into their lives, into their homes with music and make a difference, that totally makes it worth it. And to me, that says, yes, there's a big impact.
Absolutely. And this is just the beginning, I feel. I mean, I feel like this is just the beginning. This song could go for a long time and really help us through some difficult times, because there's a long way to go in the healing process. And I think this song could really, it's just, every time someone shares it with somebody else, which is why it's so important for, your fans to share it with everybody they know, because it just, from one ear to another, it just, it really has the impact to not only be enjoyable, an enjoyable melody, enjoyable lyrics, but the message is so intense and so good that people need to hear it.
Yeah, dude, I'm just gonna give you a big old air hug real quick. That was so nice of you. Just
right back at you.
Hug. Big old Zoom hug.
Right back at you.
Yeah.
And the good news in country music radio is that you're picking up stations every day that, I think it's up to 13 states that are playing it right now across the country.
So we just got a report from the radio team, man, and we are currently in 26 states.
Oh, you doubled that. Look at you, doubled that. Holy cow. Wow.
It's wild.
26 states, half the country, just a little more than half the country. Wow.
Yes, that is so crazy, right? That goes back to having people that believe in us, not just us, but people that believe in the song, and having that family, having that team, that musical team together, man. God has totally placed the right people in line to put this message out on the platform that it needs to be. And I'm just a lucky man. I'm a happy man. My family and I were totally grateful for the entire team involved, our Nashville team, our Florida team here, even got some people up in New York doing their thing, It takes a village, right?
Yes.
It takes a village, and they are working so hard, but I'm just so excited and so grateful for the way radio has opened up and accepted our music, because that's not an easy thing to do. The amount of songs that they get, man.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to mention that because, you know, it is really hard to break through the radio today. And it's especially as the industry changes, there's so many corporate radio situations. You can't just go into somebody at one station. You're trying to pitch it to their array of stations that they own. And so it's like,
Right.
it could be tricky. There are still some good small stations around, of course, that, you know, and that's where the relationships start with those stations. When someone picks it up, if you talk about people like Garth Brooks and the people you mentioned, Vince Gill, they probably could tell stories about the first time they got on the station. It was a small town where someone just believed in them, and it just went wildfire from there.
That's absolutely right. You know, and that's the thing, whether it be corporate radio or small radio, just the fact that that person says, hey, come on in, and they're not like, what's in it for me? You know, they just want to share a good message and song. And the fact that we're learning their listeners are requesting this song.
That's so great. So great.
Man. Again, that platform is just wide open for us, and grateful for the team. And I'm also grateful for people like you that take the time to talk to us.
It's my pleasure. It's so interesting to hear your story, and it's going to be interesting to watch it from the sidelines and see how it just continues to grow. You know, it's great. I know that your Christian faith is a big part of your identity, and that your songwriting and how you feel that I heard you quoted as saying that God is the captain of this project. And I love that. I mean, that, you know, that you feel like there's someone at the helm of the ship guiding you and leading you down this path and bringing you back to this path, bringing you back to your music after taking a little short break to just kind of reevaluate everything, to be right back on track. And he kind of pulled you back into it, maybe, you know?
He did. So I'm a praying man. You know, when I was 30 years old, I gave my life to Christ. I feel like I wasted 30 years. And I just told some of the youth at the church, you know, and speaking with them, I said, I waited 30 years to accept Christ. If I would have died within those 30 years, I'd be having eternal life in hell. Which brings me to this music and this platform and this message. When I stepped away, I did my last show March 13th from the music side, stepping out of the chase. I did it at the House of Blues Orlando, practically a sold out show, man. It was a packed house. It was great. And I said, I'm going to step aside, time to family, set myself aside. I'm going to spend more time at the church, and I'm going to ask God to use me and show me where I need to be and what I need to be doing, because it was all about me. It was selfish reasons. And then here we go. He put this song on my heart, and he opened doors. He brought the right people to us. It's been so simple. And I feel that's because God is the captain of this song, and America needs that right now. America needs a good, godly message. And wherever you are in your walk of faith, just know that there's a man that has got this. Our God is a big God. And I asked him, I didn't tell him, I never tell him, right? Some things you just can't tell God.
Right.
I just said, God, use me as you see fit. Use my family as you see fit. And if you put me on the platform that I know, which is country music, which is performing in front of these people that will watch and listen, give me that opportunity, God, and I will use it to your will. And that's what he's done with this song, man. So I'm just grateful, and I'm grateful for the people that accept us in our music, knowing that I am a Christian, that I am a believer.
Absolutely.
And that we've got a story to tell.
Absolutely. I just want to ask you real quickly here, as I know you got a busy day ahead of you here. So
Yes,
do you have an album or an EP that you're kind of putting together as we speak here? Is there something that, I mean, with this, or are we taking things a single at a time right now? How is that being set up?
Well, there's always work being done behind the scenes. There's always new music being written. There's always new music being produced. So I'm not going to let any cats out of the bag. I'm not going to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Sure,
Can you expect to see more from us in our camp? Absolutely. With a positive message? Absolutely. We're going to focus on this song. This song's got a long life to it, I hope. We've got a great team, and we really want to invest our energy into doing this. But yes, y'all guys can absolutely expect to see some new stuff come down the hat. This is going to be an exciting year for us, man. We are babes in this big old chase now, and we're excited to show up to the gun show, should we say.
And I saw the big bus on the on your Facebook post too. So it sounds like you're ready to, as soon as we can get things to a safe avenue, you know, with
Yeah.
life and our health and everything, to
Yeah.
get on the road and bring your music to other people, to touch other people's lives.
Absolutely. We're excited. I've got a great band, man. The band has made me for the past 15, 16, 17 years, and they have totally made me look good. And that's a family as well. But we are excited to have that opportunity when things get cranked back up. Hopefully we get paired up with the right people that can keep us on the road, whether it be opening for somebody, headlining. But most importantly, we've got a musical message to share, and we are super excited to have that opportunity.
Fantastic. What's the best way for people to reach you, as far as to learn about you through social media? I see you're pretty active on it. What's the best way for them to kind of keep hearing the music, keep reading what you're doing?
Absolutely. So the music is on all digital platforms, whether it be iTunes, Amazon, YouTube, whatever it may be. You can find there, just search Patrick Gibson. And then we have a hub. Our website is pgcountry.com. Check that out. That has everything you need to know.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's just such an exciting story, and I'm just going to love being on the sidelines watching this story grow, because it's just going to explode, and it's already exploding. So thank you so much for your time, and I wish you continued success as you continue your journey.
Yeah, Kevin. Hey, man, I totally appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you for the time today.
Thank you so much. You take care.
All righty.